September 11th, 2001. It began as an ordinary Tuesday morning in the United States. People were going to work. Children were going to school. Planes were taking off from airports across the country. But within a few hours, the world would change forever. This is the story of September 11th, 2001, the day the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center were attacked. The morning of September 11. At 8:46 in the morning, American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. People inside the building were suddenly faced with smoke, fire, and confusion. Emergency workers immediately began responding to the disaster. At first, many people did not understand what was happening. News organizations began reporting that an airplane had crashed into the World Trade Center. Then, at 9:03 a.m., another plane appeared over New York. United Airlines Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower. Millions of people watching television realized that this was not an accident. The United States was under attack. The World Trade Center. The Twin Towers were among the most recognizable buildings in New York City. The North Tower and South Tower stood more than 1,300 feet tall and were part of the World Trade Center complex. Thousands of people worked inside the buildings every day. After the attacks, firefighters, police officers, paramedics, and other emergency workers rushed toward the towers. While many people were trying to escape, these emergency workers were moving in the opposite direction, toward the danger. The South Tower collapses. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed. The enormous building came down in seconds, sending a massive cloud of dust and debris through the surrounding streets. People nearby ran for safety as the area became covered in smoke and dust. The collapse shocked people around the world who were watching the events unfold on live television. But the disaster was not over. The North Tower. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower collapsed. The building that had stood over the New York skyline for decades was gone. The surrounding area was filled with debris, dust, smoke, and emergency vehicles. Thousands of people had been killed, and many more were injured. The attack also took the lives of hundreds of firefighters, police officers, and other emergency personnel who had entered the buildings to help people escape. The Twin Towers were not the only targets. At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, where the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense is located. A fourth hijacked plane, United Airlines Flight 93, was also heading toward a target. However, the passengers and crew learned about the attacks and attempted to take control of the aircraft. The plane crashed into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at 10:03 a.m. Everyone aboard was killed, but the passengers' actions prevented the plane from reaching its intended target. The aftermath. By the end of September 11th, nearly 3,000 people had lost their lives. The attacks affected families, communities, New York City, and people around the world. The United States began a major investigation into the attacks and launched military operations against al-Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan. Air travel and airport security also changed dramatically. For many people who experienced that day, the memories have never disappeared. Remembering the victims. Today, the location where the Twin Towers once stood is known as the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. Two large memorial pools mark the locations of the original towers. The names of the victims are displayed around the memorial. The site serves as a reminder of the people who died and the many people who risked their lives trying to save others. September 11 is remembered not only because of the destruction, but also because of the courage shown by ordinary people and emergency workers during one of the darkest days in modern American history. Narrator. September 11th, 2001 changed history. The Twin Towers are no longer part of the New York skyline, but the people who were lost that day continue to be remembered. Their stories remind us of the importance of courage, compassion, and helping others during times of tragedy. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more historical stories. See you in the next video.